Ready?
1 second, I'm going to start the recording. Oh, we got the recording running. Perfect.
Oh,
Yep.
wonderful. Andrew, we're ready to go?
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. Well, look, thank you, all of you, for being with us today. You know, we've heard the saying that a friend in need is a friend indeed. And Andrew Mellen, who all of you will get to know today, is truly a friend of Home Free USA's. I will say he's truly also a friend in need because Andrew and I saw each other in California, in Mexico, about 3 weeks ago. And he asked, well, how are things going, Marcia? You know, with the economic struggles and the this and that, and so much disruption going on. How are things going? And I said, Andrew, honey, we all need a lift. We need a lift. We need motivation. We need to understand how we're going to stay standing. So here we are today. Andrew, many of you have met Andrew because he's been at several of our conferences. But guys, look, after today, we want you to see him as a friend as we do. Andrew speaks to corporate executives and corporations around the country, individuals just like you and I, about how to improve our lives, how to get more out of the time that we spend working. What do we do to keep ourselves encouraged to be better business professionals and to move things forward despite the ills that we see every day? So I asked Andrew, I know he gets paid hundreds of thousands of dollars and all that, but I asked him if he would be willing to come to speak to some folks who we absolutely love, that we appreciate. You guys are our partners. You guys are our friends. You are family. And I asked him, Andrew, if he would speak to you, to all of us today, to give us a little bit of an uplift, give us a little bit of words that we can move things forward, because not only will we still be standing, we're going to stay standing. So, Andrew, with this in mind, and thank you so much for being with us. Andrew is calling from San Diego, and he is just very, very pleased to meet all of you, our partners, our friends, our family. Turn it over to you, Andrew. Thank you so much for being with us today. And thank all of you for being on our call here. I guarantee you, you're going to get a lot out of this presentation. Andrew, it's on you.
Thank you so much, Marcia. It's great to be here with everybody, and I'm going to just ring the bell as we start off. It's just it's always a privilege to be of service, and I do love Home Free. It does feel like family. So I'm happy to be here, and happy to share this information, and hopefully this will provide some useful tools and some relief as we move through our day. So let's climb right in. Uh, the first thing I'm going to share with you is our agenda. Those of you who have spent any time with me, you know that I have an agenda for all of my events. So you know where we're going. I know where we're going. And if it helps to calm you down a little bit to know where we're going before we get there, this is where we're going. So it also means that uh, we have a roadmap for what we're going to be doing, so we're not just flying by the seat of our pants. I have a zero tolerance in my own work around attending meetings without agendas. It's just something might get done, but there's no guarantee that what you want to get done will get done without the agenda. So I invite you to, as you move forward from today, to make sure that any meeting that you're calling has an agenda that you've provided. And if you've been invited to attend a meeting, that you gently but firmly request an agenda at least 24 hours in advance so you can come prepared. Without exception, Our best work always happens in revision. No doubt everybody in this room is a survivor, is scrappy, is capable of pulling a rabbit out of your hat occasionally, but that's not a recipe for sustainability, is relying on magic. So when you have the chance to prepare, you are more likely to show up with a full lunchbox and able to get the things done that you need to get done as efficiently and effectively as you can. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take our 3 deep breaths. The brain science tells us that in as few as 3 deep breaths, we can completely reset our central nervous system. When we are feeling beleaguered, when we are feeling overwhelmed, when we are feeling stressed out, sometimes our brain tells us, chase the day down and try to conquer whatever's going on. The opposite is actually more impactful and more effective. If you will pause when you start to feel that anxiety bubbling up, when you start to feel the stress, you feel that sense of overwhelm. If you will pause and reset your central nervous system, you will be more likely to meet what is happening as it is happening. It's built in, you're alive, you're breathing, so you don't have to go anywhere, you don't need any special equipment. And it takes less than 30 seconds to do this exercise. So I invite you to add this to your toolbox immediately. And what we're going to do is we're going to let this little graphic go up one more time. When it gets to the top, we're going to exhale with it. Then we're just going to breathe in, count of 5, exhale, count of 5. Very simple. Here we go. It's at the top. Now let's all exhale. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a great way to start any meeting. People are showing up, they're frazzled, they're distracted, they're thinking about wherever they came from, they're worried about wherever they got to go next. It gets everybody grounded and centered in the room. What I'm going to do now is invite you to set an intention for our time together. Not necessarily what you're going to do, but what you want to feel or reclaim today. Clarity, calm, perspective, permission, whatever it is. Set the intention. You'll be more likely to manifest it with some clarity behind you. And I have prepared a little landing page for you where you can download these slides. We will make them available to you. You'll also get my Time Thieves action and reflection guide, some screensavers that will remind you to put the focus where you need to put it. You can take a picture of this. You can come back to it. We'll make the QR code available as well as we wrap things up. This will just give you a chance to download all of these materials. Rather than worrying about trying to keep up as we move through today's presentation, this will allow you to get all of them so you can sit back and participate rather than worrying about trying to take notes. Take the notes that are useful to you, but don't stress about it. All right. So as Marcia mentioned at the very beginning, right, when we were talking, it occurred to me to just be clear about like, why this now? I can see it. You're living it. Too many leaders are quietly burning out, right? You're doing it quietly. You're showing up at meetings. You're still answering emails at 9 p.m. You're trying to smile through the stress. But the truth is the tank is probably empty and the demands haven't stopped. This is the burnout that we don't talk about, not because you're weak, but because you don't feel like you have the option to stop and pause and reboot. So let's give ourselves permission to exhale, to say what we need to say, and to say it out loud. The other thing is that we need to acknowledge that we are likely under-resourced, we are overcommitted, and we are still trying to serve. So working with less staff, less funding, and even more demand from your communities means that you have to find the ways to lead and continue to lift others up, even when you feel like you are and may in fact be sliding down. It's heroic, but it is not sustainable. So it's never a question of whether you care. It's a question of how can you keep going without breaking down. We don't want to be condescended to, we don't want to be patronized, and we have to do the work. And yes, of course, Jerome, you may share the QR code. And the last thing is a reminder that this is everything that I'm going to share with you today is a buffet. So take what's useful, try it on, see what works. There's none of what I'm sharing with you is intended to create more burden, more stress, more overwhelm, more responsibility. I'm trying to help you with a menu of tools and exercises and resources. Use the ones, play with them, push on them, see what works and resonates with you, but don't take it all on as if this is somehow more that you have to do, right? I mean, I want to be super clear about that. And now let's talk about our mindset as we walk into this work. The first thing I'm going to share with you is that you can't lead clearly in a cluttered environment. Your outer world does reflect your inner world. When your office, your car, your calendar is cluttered, inevitably your thinking will be too. You may be thinking also that you're too busy to get organized. I'm going to tell you, and I say this with love and respect, you're too busy not to get organized, because your environment shapes your thinking. Physical clutter equals mental confusion. Every unfinished pile, every buried inbox tab, it all sends your central nervous system the same message. Something is unresolved. Clearing space is not a waste of time. It actually creates clarity. And even one cleared drawer will give your brain permission to focus. So I want you to think about working in 5, 10, or 15-minute sprints to reset your workspace, your inbox, a desk drawer. Create space not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. So the first invitation I'm going to make to you today is, before the end of today, choose a surface, could be a digital surface, a physical surface, that you're going to clear for clarity. One, again, all of you overachievers, not 20, not 30, just one. Okay?
Okay.
Boundaries are not betrayal. They are leadership. Saying no does not make you selfish. I understand that many of us who grew up in the nonprofit world and are still working in the nonprofit world feel like it's all about giving and serving, and somehow we're just supposed to take care of ourselves at 2 o'clock in the morning when everything else is buttoned up. It's unsustainable. Boundaries aren't walls, they are clarity, and they protect your energy, your mission, and your team. When you say yes to everything, your time becomes meaningless. I say it all the time. When everything is precious, nothing is precious. When everything is urgent and important, nothing is urgent and important. We need to be able to say yes with discernment so your time stays sacred. And most importantly, when you have boundaries, you model how others can show up responsibly too. It sets clear expectations, clear limitations, and allows everybody to operate with mutual respect. So I'm going to invite you to practice saying no this week kindly, but firmly, and without over explaining. Another thing that we often do is insert the but or the because in the sentence. And as soon as you insert the but or the because in the sentence, you're denigrating what you just said. You're taking away its power and its impact. So you don't need, no is a complete sentence. You can say no, and you can say it graciously and completely. You don't need to provide excuses or explanations. I understand for some of us, that's going to be new behavior. It might make your skin crawl a little bit. Through practice, it will become easier to just say no and be quiet. The last mindset thing I want to share with you is visibility is not vanity, it's sustainability. When you disappear, so does your work. When you disappear, so does your work. If people can't see the impact you're making, it's very hard for them to support it. You don't need to be everywhere. You just need to be consistently visible. So I want you to change your mindset to think of visibility as oxygen for your mission. It's how your work breathes, expands, and grows. And particularly for those of us who are wired as introverts, who might be neurodiverse, who aren't used to or don't want the spotlight is on the work. I get it. And at the same time, we need to make sure that we are outwardly focusing. We can't be a secret in the corner, because we will not get the support that we need, and we won't build the relationships that we need if we're a secret. We don't want to go down as the best kept secret, and everybody mourns our loss 6 months after we've closed our doors, and like, oh, I didn't know that they were in trouble. I didn't know that there was an issue. That's not going to serve your communities. It's not going to serve you. So I invite you also to choose one story this week that you can share. It could be a post, it could be a message, it could be a pitch. In an ideal world, it will happen within the next 72 hours. Okay? And one, again, not 19, one. Keep it in perspective.
Yeah.
Now, here's the big takeaway. You can't manage time. You can only manage yourself in relationship to time. We call it time management because self-management sounds woo-woo and self-helpy, and yet the reality is the only thing we do have control over is ourselves, where we put our attention, where we put our energy, and where we put our boundaries. That's time management. It's not about squeezing more into the day. It's about choosing what gets your focus and being able to either set the other stuff aside or let it go. The more you manage yourself, the less chaotic the time will feel. And again, this is a learning curve, so it might feel bumpy or weird in the very beginning, but I promise you it will pay dividends geometrically the more you manage yourself. And ultimately what this means is managing how you think about time, how you feel about time, and as a result, how you act in relationship to time. I'm going to share this wheel with you. How many people here, just a thumbs up or a yes in the chat, have seen a wheel like this before? Give me a thumbs up, your little mechanical thumbs up, or you can write yes in the chat. The idea here is that our beliefs and our thoughts are shaping our feelings. Our feelings are going to inform the kinds of actions we take, and our actions are directly responsible for our results. So if we've got stinking thinking, if we're thinking small, if we're on the glass half empty side of the equation, chances are we're going to feel pretty beat up. We're going to feel pretty worn down. We're going to feel pretty exhausted. We're not going to feel strong. We're not going to feel like the fierce participants that we actually are. And when we're feeling weak and puny, we're going to take weak and puny actions. We're not going to get great results, and then we're going to, if we're in that glass half empty mindset, we're going to use that information to inform our stinking thinking and say, you see, everybody else gets a break. Everybody else, it works for everybody else. How come I keep ending up with the short end of the stick? You're not ending up with the short end of the stick. You're just ending up with what is actually in front of you. I've been reading this great book called It Takes What It Takes, which is all about being present for what's actually happening, not looking back and worrying about what has already happened that we can't affect change in, nor projecting into the future and either fantasizing about what the future is, how we're going to magically get airlifted out of our crappy circumstances, or imagining that catastrophe is going to be worse than it actually is. It's about being present for what's actually happening. Because if we have not Pollyanna-ish positive thinking, but if we have positive thinking around, I have capacity, I have capability, and I am competent to do this work, you will feel competent and confident. When you feel competent and confident, you will be able to take strong, clear, decisive action. And I promise you, when you are coming from that place, you will get better results. You can use that information to reinforce the thinking just as easily. You can prove to yourself, you see, I was skeptical, but I did it. I acted as if I believed I could do this. I actually did it. I am capable. I am confident. I am able to do this work. And you always have the choice at that fork in the road, glass half empty, glass half full. I invite you, when the glass half empty thinking is coming up, just poke a hole in it, tell yourself it's one of your 200 lies, and then move back onto the glass half full side of the equation. Now we're going to talk about these 8 deadly time thieves, which are the subject of my 3rd book, Calling BS on Busy. They are interruptions, overcommitting, multitasking. I know some of you think it's your superpower. It's not. Poor planning, email, social media, meetings, and procrastination. And I'm going to share this image with you. This is what I call the compassionate triage matrix. It's my spin off of the Eisenhower matrix. Some of you might know it as the Covey matrix, but Stephen Covey stole it from Eisenhower. So it was Eisenhower's matrix. And in my version of it, I want you to think about these 4 quadrants. What has to be done now? What is urgent and important? What is important, not urgent, that you can schedule? What can you delegate? It needs to be done, but it does not need to be done by you. And then what can you delete? So often on our to-do list, we drag around these things that torment us, that we, A, have no time to do, B, they are not important. They are just pestering us in the background always. And I'm telling you, if it's lower than a 3 on your priority list, 1 being the most important, right? 1, 2, 3. If it is a 4 or a 5 on your priority list, there is no way that that is ever going to be elevated to become a 1, 2, or 3. And there will always be new 1, 2s, or 3s that are actually adding to your list. You're just going to keep those 4s and 5s down there. You might as well either give them away or strike them out, because they're making you crazy and you're never going to get to them. That's not because I don't believe you're capable of getting to them. You're not getting to them because they don't align with your values. So there's power in releasing them rather than dragging them around you like a lost puppy or a wagon full of regrets and some days. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, give me a yes or a thumbs up, please. Great. Now, here are 10 triage questions that you can ask yourself. What breaks if this doesn't happen today? So this helps you really assess true urgency, not imagined urgency. Is there a legal deadline? Is there a real world consequence? If the answer is someone might be a little disappointed, that's not urgency. This will protect your attention from false alarms and false flags. The next question, must I do this personally for all of the people pleasers and perfectionists in the room? You might have a story that says, I'm the only person who can do this, or by the time I explained how to do this to somebody else, I could have done it 3 times. That's only true the first time. Once you teach somebody how to do it and hand it off to them, they can take it and run with it. So be very clear if this is about your need to micromanage or control everything, or is it really you're the only person who can do it? Pay attention to any prompts that rise up in you about ego and precision, right? Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. If somebody on your team, or it can be delegated to somebody who can do it at an 80% or better, which is a B, it's a passing grade. If a B or better is good enough, sometimes good enough is better than not getting done and you just dragging it around behind you. Urgent, crisis, or just poorly planned, this is not an indictment of your character, right? Not all urgency is your problem. If someone brings you a last minute request, you can ask, when did they first learn of this? You're not obligated to compensate for poor planning. Saying yes to these kinds of things creates a precedent that you will grow to regret if you haven't already been regretting it. What happens if I say no? This really helps you to uncover any fear-based decision making. Are you imagining backlash that's bigger than the reality? Are you catastrophizing, or is there a real quantifiable consequence? And if you do say no kindly, but say it in a way that protects your energy and prioritizes. Would I still say yes if I had half my current energy? This also reframes the task from the perspective of scarcity. If you were operating at 50% capacity, would this make the cut? Often the yes tasks reveal themselves quickly when we look at them through this lens. It helps us to reveal real priorities under pressure. Can this be broken into smaller, triageable parts? Sometimes we stall because things feel too big. So what's the first 15-minute thing that you can do to move this forward? You don't have to do the whole thing. You don't have to finish it. But can you set a timer for 15 minutes and work on a step? If you can make progress without completing the whole thing today, progress is progress. Momentum often comes from micro movements, not massive sprints. Slow and steady, steady and consistent is going to actually get you further than working in fits and starts. It takes a body at rest tends to stay at rest, a body in motion tends to stay in motion. The act of starting from zero burns more energy than sustainable energy that you're just redirecting to the next task. Does this align with my team's mission or just a habit of mine? Busyness loves habits. Are you doing this just because we've always done it this way? Or does it actually serve a larger purpose in your work? This will allow you to keep your team aligned and your energy focused on what matters now. Not what we used to do, but what matters actually now. This one, again, might be uncomfortable for some of the people pleasers in the room. Are you saying yes to avoid conflict or guilt? People pleasing is a time thief with very good PR. A yes that creates internal resentment is not generous, and it's also not sustainable. So ask yourself, am I avoiding someone else's discomfort at the cost of my own integrity and well-being? Every yes costs something. So make sure that you're paying with intention and investing your time rather than burning through it, telling yourself, well, I'll just reset the clock when all of this other stuff is out of the way. Then I'll refuel. Is someone waiting on you unnecessarily? Sometimes we forget that we're a bottleneck. So you need to ask yourself, is someone stuck because they're waiting for my sign off, my reply, or my green light? Prioritize clearing those blocks first so that people can then be dispatched to finish their work. A 5-minute email can sometimes unlock hours of progress for somebody else. And the last one is think about your return on investment, and does this move the mission forward? Does this actually help people, or does it just check a box? There's a difference between activity and impact. Just because something is on a to-do list doesn't mean it actually matters. So is it tied to a real outcome? Is it status maintenance? And we want to prioritize service, not optics, not CYA optics, not any other optics. And again, this is not an indictment of anybody's character. It's just a chance to tell the truth to ourselves. Am I more concerned about how it looks if I do this, or does it actually matter to the people that I'm serving that this get done? All right. And now we're gonna have a chance to do a little exercise, and this is a quick audit and a clear the clutter audit. So Kristen is gonna drop in the chat the 8 deadly time thieves for you. And I want you to think about the top 2 time thieves that are kicking your butt. And I want you to think about 5 things that are currently weighing you down. And I want you to then answer these 2 questions. What are they stealing from you? And what could you reclaim by setting these aside? All right. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes on the clock to do this exercise. And remember, this is never about judgment. Zero guilt, zero shame. Doesn't serve you. So be very clear that this is really about just getting clear for yourself and awareness and recognizing what you can triage. Got about 30 seconds left. Great, that's time. If you need more time, I mean, you can do this as soon as the presentation is over. You can return to this exercise if this would be useful for you. And I invite you to share your results in the chat if you're comfortable doing so. Now let's talk about some scripts for boundaries. I, I'm going to share these with you as things that you can say as you are creating boundaries for yourself. I trust you with this is the beginning of delegation with empowerment. The big sentence is, I trust you with this. Now, here is what a successful outcome looks like. So you need to tell them what you expect when you delegate it. And if you need support, we can schedule a 10-minute check-in. And it allows you to hand something to somebody with a clear expectation of what they're going to do. I'm at capacity. The full sentence is, I'm at capacity right now. I don't want to say yes and not deliver, so I need to say no, or I need to ask for support, right? It allows you to transparently state your limits without apology or shame, and it communicates emotional honesty and protects your energy. A good time to use this is when you're already juggling too much, when someone makes a new ask or adds scope to a current task, or if you feel any sense of resentment or dread sneaking in. Let's revisit this next week allows you to delay without avoidance. You can say, this may be worth doing, but I can't look at it properly until next week. Let's revisit it on specifically a day and a time. So you're not procrastinating, you're not avoiding, you are making an appointment to address it when you have the bandwidth to address it. And it means you're not saying no, you're saying not yet. And it creates some breathing room without an outright dismissal. And the next one is, I can't do both well, so I am saying no now. And this allows you to have boundaries with integrity. I want to give this the attention it deserves. If I try to do both, I will shortchange one or both. So I'm saying no now to protect what matters most. I say this all the time. Saying no to something is saying yes to something we value more. And the only thing better than good news is bad news fast. If the answer is no, tell them no now. Don't tell them you'll get back to them in 48 hours if you already know the answer is no. You've just wasted 2 days of their life going to find a yes. It's the same thing when somebody says it to you. If you can sense that they're just trying to buy some time, so when they do say no, you'll feel like, oh, some time has lapsed. It's going to be easier to experience the disappointment. It's not going to be easier to experience the disappointment. I would have much rather you cut me loose 2 days ago, so I could have gone and found a yes in those 2 days. I was holding out thinking you were going to try to come through for me, and you were thinking, oh, if I just wait long enough, he won't feel so bad when I drop the axe. It's better to just say no now and let somebody get on with what they need to do. Now, when it comes to organizing yourself and your team, I invite you to use a consistent weekly structure. Structure isn't just for your calendar, it's a form of care. It keeps you and your team sane and your energy focused. Chaos thrives in ambiguity. A predictable weekly rhythm, even if it's very simple, reduces decision fatigue. Mondays for planning, Wednesdays for deep work, Fridays for wrap up. Whatever it is, make it something that is repeatable for you. Other people can chart their progress based on what you're doing, and you can base your progress on what they're doing. If the team priorities live in someone else's head or buried in a document that no one reads, people are going to default to urgency, not strategy. When priorities live in someone's head, not in the middle of the room, people will default to urgency, not strategy. So make priorities visible. Use a whiteboard, a shared slide, a sticky note, whatever it is, a Google Doc, whatever keeps the work alive and visible. This is a big one. Set no meeting focus windows. You've got to protect your brain's best hours. Block off time for deep work, alone and as a team. If you're an early morning person, that isn't the time to be checking your emails unless you're on a deadline where you're expecting something that has to be acted on. Otherwise, protect your time when you are most functional. If you're a late afternoon person, if you start the morning fuzzy and you really move into high gear at noon or at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, do your big stuff then. Line up your activities with where your energy and focus is. And then start to practice a one-word check-in, because the culture isn't only built in retreat, right? It's built in the rhythm of the week. So you can start the week off on a Monday or any meeting with, how are you arriving today? Not how are you feeling today? How are you arriving today? So that people have a chance to check in. Oh, I'm frazzled. Oh, I'm this. It's not that I don't care how they feel, but I care about how prepared they are to participate. So I don't want to get lost. Because it isn't group therapy, I don't want to get lost in talking about people's feelings separate from how it's going to impact their ability to show up. Okay? And now here are some things that you can do to recharge your systems between daily and quarterly for you and for a team. So if you think about this, for you daily, you should have a 2-minute reset available to you each day. And it means literally taking 2 minutes. You can sit still, you can step outside, you can close your eyes and breathe, you can do the 3 deep breaths, you can do box breathing. It isn't about meditating, it's about shifting out of survival mode. You need to take an inventory. How are you feeling? Are all your senses working as expected? Are there aches? Are there pains? Do you need to stretch? Are you hungry, angry, lonely, tired? This pause tells your nervous system you're safe, you have time to think, you don't have to rush every second. On the team side, you can start a team meeting with 2 minutes of stillness or silence. It allows people to recognize that they're not doing it alone and we're all engaged in the same activity at the same time. On a weekly level, we want to think about protected time for you. So once a week, you should have some block time to work without interruption. It's the biggest time thief. Interruptions. So no meetings, no multitasking, no quick check-ins. This is what will allow you to have clarity and to have strategy and to do deep work. It doesn't need to be every day, but it needs to be at least once a week. And as far as the team goes, you can declare one morning a week or one afternoon a week as quiet hours where everyone focuses and no one interrupts. It furthers the culture that people recognize that they have time to do their important work, and they're not going to get pulled off task because somebody is roping them into being on the volunteer fire department. On a monthly basis, you want to think about a peer check-in for yourself, right? So you can check in with yourself around what's working, what's dragging you down or the team down. You're not looking for a solution. You're looking for awareness, alignment, and permission to make small changes. And on the team side, you can have a win and learn session where you normalize failure. Failure doesn't mean that we've lost. It means that something has set us back or we need to reset. It doesn't mean that you've lost the battle. It means possibly that that something needs to be course corrected. You can also celebrate imperfect progress. Progress is progress. Just keep it simple and keep it real. And on a quarterly basis, you can do a strategy reset. So every 90 days, you can just pause and ask yourself, how are we working? And is it still working? Are we spending our energy on what really matters or just what feels familiar? This goes back to that idea of habits. We want to make sure that we're realigned with our goals, that our roles are refreshed, and we name what's not sustainable and what needs to be celebrated. Okay? If any of these things are happening for you, that you wake up dreading the day, you feel emotionally flat or numb, you snap at others more than usual, you avoid tasks that you used to enjoy, or you fantasize about quitting. If you wake up dreading the day, the best thing to do is name one thing that you are either looking forward to or one thing that you're grateful for. And if you can't find anything that you are grateful for, I suggest at least setting a micro intention for yourself. If you feel emotionally flat or numb, I invite you to put, and this is not woo-woo, this is actually brain science. Put your hand on your heart, name your current feeling. Even if the feeling is nothing or numb, then take 3 deep breaths and imagine your breath expanding around your heart space. If you are snapping at others more than usual, step away literally for 30 seconds. Leave the room, exhale, ask yourself, what am I actually needing right now? Before you re-enter the room. If you're avoiding tasks you used to enjoy, I invite you to set a 2-minute timer and start only the first step of a task, not the whole thing, and don't set yourself up like I have to finish this, you just have to start it. The timer is a tremendously powerful tool. It takes all of the responsibility off of you of having to keep score, and the clock is keeping score. So if you set the timer for 5 minutes and say, I'm going to work uninterrupted for 5 minutes, you don't have to wonder when 5 minutes is up. The timer will tell you. You are allowed now to just focus for 5 minutes uninterrupted. All right? And lastly, if you're fantasizing about quitting, you can just check in with yourself. Do I really want to quit, or what do I want? I actually just want some rest. I want some support. I want some appreciation. I want greater clarity. I want a feeling of control. Maybe it isn't that you're ready to throw in the towel. You need something else, but the easy grab is, I'm ready to quit. So that's something else that you can do. Now we're going to talk a little bit about marketing without burning out, because again, visibility is oxygen. You don't need a campaign, you do need some consistency. And connection is how you're going to convert people. So I want you to think about front page worthiness with this checklist in mind. Is it timely? Is it local? Is there an emotional hook? Is it visual? Can they see it rather than hear it, or it being verbal? Can they imagine it? And is it empowering? Does it lift people up? So does it connect with something that's happening right now in your community, in your industry, in the world? What can you tie it into? We talk often in marketing about surfing the front page of the newspaper? What is already trending that you can hook yourself onto and make relevant to what you're doing? Uh, is it local? Does it affect your specific community or region, not just the general public? So is there a story about a family in your own city, not a national statistic? Is there a new initiative that helps a local school, a shelter, a block? Is there a quote from your team or a photo from your own neighborhood that would resonate with people, right? When we think about emotional, does it evoke a feeling, hope, relief, anger, joy, connection, fear, inspiration? A grandmother who finally got something that she'd been on a 3-year waiting list for, a volunteer who used to need help and now leads a program, a team struggling but continuing to show up every day, right? How would it make you feel if you read this? Emotion equals retention. If it moves people, it will matter. When we think about visual, can this story be shown, not just told? So a picture of kids holding new backpacks on their way to the first day of school, a side-by-side before and after picture of a transformation, a short video of a program in action or someone speaking to the camera. If I posted this, would people stop scrolling? That's a question to ask yourself. And lastly, when it comes to empowering, does this offer a way for people to take action, feel hopeful, and become part of the solution? There's tons of information out there that just saps everybody's energy, brings us down, makes us feel like crap, and feel completely unempowered. So we don't need more of that. There's a machine that's making that happen 24/7, 365. For us, as trying to be the antidote, how do we offer people ways to help? Links, buttons, stories of people overcoming hardship, not just struggling, campaigns that show progress, not just the problem. Does this inspire people to believe change is possible and feel like they can help? All right. And I've got for you a media pitch template. I'm not going to walk you through this, but I'm going to give you this when we're finished in a few minutes. This is a template that you can use to reach out to local media. So it's an email template, and it's yours. So you can take a picture of the slide, but you'll get the slide. And now I want you to think about, as we're drawing to a close, where you can find local media contacts. So I've also created a cheat sheet for you as well, so that you can tap into local media sources. I'm just at a high level, I'm just going to walk you through this. We want to look for like alternate weekly or free local newspapers, local NPR, public radio, college radio stations, hyper local platforms and newsletters, LinkedIn and Twitter bios, Google News alerts for similar organizations to yours, speaker lists at community journalism events that are happening where you are, ethnic media and community radio that are very community specific, and then freelancer platforms. So all of these are places, and they're all on this cheat sheet that I've made available for you, along with a set of Google search strings that will help you find local reporters who are covering your beat that might not know that you exist, or you haven't been in touch with, or there's been a change in personnel. So this will allow you to start to build those relationships. And again, build one a week. You don't need to suddenly reach out to 700 media outlets. You want to actually start to foster a relationship with a journalist, a reporter, a news producer. The one relationship will yield you much deeper and bigger fruit than blanketing generic messages to no one that nobody's going to respond to. So I'd rather you move again slowly and deliberately and foster a few relationships with people that can actually get you some visibility than chasing after all the media in a generalized, unfocused way. All right. And as we draw to a close, I just want to share these final reflections and a recommitment. So I'm going to ask you now to the part of you that chose to be here today, right? The session isn't about becoming somebody new. It's about coming back to yourself and the leader that you already are under pressure with some distractions and some expectations. So let's just be together and give space to these two questions that matter deeply right now. I'm still in this because, and this is not your mission statement, it's not your tagline, this is your own personal human reason for staying in the work. It could be someone you serve, it could be a vision you believe in. It's up for you to figure this out. But whatever it is, I want to give you a minute to answer that question. I'm still in this because. And if you would put it in the chat, please, that would be great. And once you've answered, you can move on to the next question. In the next 7 days, I commit to blank so I can stay standing and stay sane. This is where clarity will turn into action. You're not making a huge promise. You're not adding one more thing to your to-do list. It's just one small tangible step toward feeling more grounded, more supported, and more aligned. Could be a boundary you hold. It could be a conversation you have. It could be a moment of rest that you're going to claim for yourself. Whatever it is, make it real, make it doable, make it yours. And while you're doing this, remember you don't have to, and it's it doesn't mean that you're not tremendously powerful and influential to say that you can't save the entire world. You just have to stay in the work long enough to do what matters. And if there's any way that I can support you beyond this training, this is where you can find me and my team. Here's our 800 number, and there's our email address, hello@andrewmellen.com. Thank you all very much for spending this time with me. Marcia, where are you? There, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Okay, well, I have a question here, guys, and Andrew, just thank you so much for just so much enriched messaging and words of wisdom. I have a question for you guys today. As Andrew has brought this to a close, how are you arriving today? I love that. How are you arriving today after our presentation here? Let's put some of that in the chat. I see this. Thank you all. Outstanding, great presentation. Andrew, you've done just such a great job. And for everyone on the call, thank you so much, Suzanne and Soraya, everybody, Ben, we appreciate it. I just want to say I don't want to use the word end, but as we bring this presentation to a close, because this will be hopefully one of many. You know, in life, our focus is on leading people better than we find them. But without question, in order to do that, we have to make sure that we are leading ourselves to be the best that we can be. And that's what we're about with all of our friends and family at Home Free USA. Not only has Andrew given us some great leadership advice, guys, I hope that we will see all of you at Reaching Millions, because we're going to take this conversation to the next level. It's about business. It's about growth. It's about showing impact. It's about producing value, getting known. I love the PR piece, Andrew, and becoming financially sound. This is what we're about. We just appreciate. Let's give Andrew a hand, everybody. Did such a great job. And this is, thank you so much. All of the thank yous and kind words. This has been great, Andrew. And I love all of these little hands. I've never seen this before, but this is what I need some help with, Andrew.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
things down, things down in my list. Guys, now where can everyone get a copy of the presentation?
Kristen, if you can drop that QR code back in the chat for everybody, that would be great. And you could also just drop the link to the page where they can go and access the slide deck and some other stuff. And we can so there's a QR code for you. You can take a picture of that, or we'll also drop the direct link in the chat. And you can go there, and the slide deck is available. The handouts that I mentioned are available there as well as a few other handouts that I've made available to you.
Absolutely. So look, guys, if any of you need to talk or have any questions or thoughts or ideas or want to work with Andrew, he is certainly available. He knows us, he knows you guys, and we are primed to do bigger and better things as we end 2025 and go to 2026. It's going to be better. Andrew, thank you so much. We're still standing, and
Yes,
we
ma'am.
stay standing.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for joining us. It's a pleasure. Thank you, Andrew. And thank you, all of you, for being with us today. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye now.